Welcome back to Awful Stories. It's Matt here, and make sure to drop a like and subscribe to not miss your daily fix on Reddit stories. Let's jump into our first post in the True Off My Chest subreddit. The post is titled, My Parents Blame Me for Killing My Little Brother. My parents had 4 kids, 3 boys, and a girl. When we were all still kids, about 5 or 6 years old, they had another boy. My parents used to keep medicine in a cupboard in the living room. One day, when the youngest boy was 2 or 3, he grabbed the high chair, which was kept in the living room, and used it to climb up and grab some medicine from the cupboard. They were sugar coated pills, sugar coated to make them easier to swallow. He thought they were candy and ate the lot. When they found him, he was already unconscious. They raced him to the hospital in an ambulance, but he did not make it. My parents blamed us. For weeks, they chased us around the house with a belt, hitting us on the arms or legs or anything they could reach until we hid behind furniture. They kept saying one of us must have left the chair there, but the chair was always there. The living room had a dining table in it, and that is where the high chair stayed, next to the table and next to the cupboard. Anyway, this went on for days. Every few hours it would start again, until I could not stand it anymore. They kept shouting, "Who did it? Who did it?" while hitting us. Finally, I decided to say it was me, because I wanted to save myself and the others from this. Even then, I knew this would follow me around for life, and it did. Once I said it was me, Dad said, "I knew it," and threw the belt down, and the beating stopped. Then the funeral came. At the funeral, my dad publicly blamed me. His own grown sister, my aunt, slapped him in the face. The two of them had to be separated by my uncle. From then on, they blamed me. Maybe a decade later, my dad had passed away, and I got into an argument with my mother one day, and she suddenly said, "You're the one who killed my son," and stopped when she saw the look on my face. I was no longer a kid. I was not going to wear the blame anymore. In my 40s, I spoke to my brother about it, and he confirmed the chair was always there. They just wanted someone to blame. I am in my 60s now, and I have my own kids. I have never forgotten or forgiven what my parents did. In 2007, I stopped speaking to my mother until she passed away in 2018. OP's parents needed a scapegoat more than they needed their remaining children. That's what this comes down to. A kid died. That's devastating, irreversible, and suffocating with guilt. But instead of falling apart together, they decided to hunt. They needed someone to blame so the pain would have somewhere to go besides into themselves. The worst part is how calculated it was. His dad's "I knew it" wasn't relief or closure. It was victory. He got his answer, the beating stopped, and now he had a name to attach to his dead son. Meanwhile, OP had just volunteered to carry that weight forever. What gets me is that OP spent decades knowing the truth. He knew the chair was always there. He knew his parents just needed someone to destroy. And still, he let them. Not because he believed it, but because he was a kid trying to make the pain stop. OP didn't kill his brother. His parents killed their capacity to be parents the moment they decided blame was easier than bearing loss. The second story for today takes place in the relationship subreddit titled, What Do I Do About My Boyfriend's Non Negotiables for Our Future? Hi. So, my 23F boyfriend, 26M, and I are in couples therapy due to my trauma negatively impacting our foundation. There is no abuse or anything here. I just want to get that out of the way. We discussed non negotiables in our last session, and some of his were surprising and hard to digest. The few that stuck out were would not marry someone who wanted to hyphenate rather than take his last name entirely. I had mentioned wanting to hyphenate because of how few people with my last name are left, and they are all my family. So he has known that this was important to me. Once kids are involved and in the house, not smoking weed more than a few times a year. I am trying to cut back on my usage now, but this just feels controlling, especially since the same definitely will not apply to alcohol. Could I ask the same of him and drinking? Probably not. Would not marry anyone who is a public figure in any capacity. I do not want to go into anything that big, maybe some local stuff. But with the kind of work I want to do, I cannot guarantee it would not happen. I still want to do things like publish work and act for good change. All things he has known I want to do. Has to be okay with naming our son, boyfriend's name, Junior. His name is the same as his father's, which is the same as his grandfather's. I have had issues with this before because I just feel like if I carry a baby for 9 months, I want to name him too. I just want an equal say, I guess. And what if there is another son? What if he feels left out or not as special because he is not named after his father? I also feel kind of like I love him and his dad, so I don't really care about the name of our potential son. But also, it would be weird for my son to have the same name as my husband. I do not know. I do not feel as strongly about this one as I used to, but I still feel like I wish there was room to talk about it. He has a very strong family, and I have a very fractured one. I have been excited about my career for a long time, and I'm enjoying this time in my life where I can build the foundation for it. However, I know he worries about me being an absent mother due to my ambitions. I have no intention of doing so, and I know the kind of mother I want to be. So now I am just asking for your advice on what I should do. Should I just leave it until our next session? Should I give up altogether? I really do not know. I know he loves me, but the fact that if I did not adhere to all of these, he would find someone who will is troubling for me to think about. Edit. You are probably right. Thanks to those of you who were empathetic to me, it was more helpful than anything else to be heard as a person. I want to delete this because I am scared he will see it, but I need to keep the advice and I do not know how to lock a post, so please do not comment anything else. BBG said, I was out at number 1. By number 5, I was out of my chair, out the back door, in my car, and headed for the state line. Roseface said, your boyfriend is basically giving you a pretty petty list of demands to change your behavior. Your name does not matter, but mine is non negotiable. Your habit needs to be controlled, but do not talk about mine. And best yet, I get to decide whether what you want to do is public and veto large parts of your life and desires if they do not fit into my mold for you. He sounds selfish, petty, and lazy. He is using this moment to let you know that he will dump the person he already knows you to be unless you change and limit yourself and your future child in ways that please him. The hypocrisy around names would drive anyone crazy. And if he is this obvious and sexist about hypocrisy, names are not going to be the only place it shows up. This third and final story takes us to the TIFU subreddit, titled, Today I Messed Up by Getting Arrested Over 3 Pomegranates That a Guy Thought Were Apples. This happened on Tuesday, and yes, it is exactly as stupid as it sounds. I had been working all day, had soup on the stove, and realized I was out of pomegranates, which are basically the only food my anxiety lets me eat without a full blown panic attack. The grocery store is 2 streets away. A simple 5-minute walk. Easy in and out, and back home to finally relax. I stopped at the dollar store first to grab my grandfather a Sudoku book and some chocolate. Then I headed into Freshco with 2 bags. One dollar store bag, already paid for. One empty green reusable bag for groceries. First thing I grabbed? 3 pomegranates. They were awkward to carry, so I tossed them into the green bag and kept shopping. I grabbed cherries, which I balanced on my fingers, juice boxes, and a Freshco gift card. I checked out. I even bought a bag at checkout to put them all in. What did I forget? 3 pomegranates, the only thing in the green bag. So I paid, grabbed my receipt, and started walking out, fully in go 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 mode because my soup was sweating on the stove at home. Right before the doors, a random guy dressed like a normal shopper stepped in front of me and said, You did not pay for those apples. Immediately I was like, What apples? I did not buy apples. I do not like apples. I was not even thinking about apples. So I said, I did not buy apples. Leave me alone. He insisted. I insisted. Then suddenly he said, That is it. You are under arrest. Like, excuse me? At this point, my brain still had not connected apples to pomegranates because they are not apples I had already paid. My brain was fried from lack of sleep and stress from working all day. Then he pointed at my bag, and it finally clicked. Oh shit, I forgot to pay for the pomegranates. I will just go back and pay. Nope, too late. You had intent to steal. I had not left the store. I had not passed the doors. I was still in the little area before leaving the store. Did not matter. Apparently, I was now a hardened criminal. I guess he got intimidated by the tattoos and black hair. He escorted me to the back room, read me my rights, which I later learned he legally should not have done, told me I was being charged with theft under $5,000, and said I was going to jail. Over 3 fucking pomegranates. So there I was, panicking, straight into fight or flight. Thank you, anxiety. I started shaking and crying. I threw up on the floor, trying to call my veteran grandfather, who I look after and who was waiting for me at home, while also thinking about my soup probably catching fire on the stove. They told me the police were on the way. They were not. I sat there for 4 hours. 4 fucking hours. The store closes at 10 p.m. It was 9:30 p.m. when the police finally called and told the loss prevention guy they were not coming that night and to just release me. So they did, but not before trespassing me from the store for a year. I have been going to this store since I was 12 years old, where I shop multiple times a week, where the owner literally custom ordered items for me. Now here's the kicker, folks. The guy thought they were apples. Apples are $1 each, and pomegranates are $4.50 each, on sale for 2. So he thought I was stealing 3 apples worth $3. Edit 1. This is not AI. I was recording as it went down because I knew there was something wrong about them detaining me and reading me my rights, especially bringing me into a room with no cameras for 4 hours. Edit 2. For context, I am 5 foot 2 inches, and this guy was like 6 foot. I am a 22-year-old woman, and he looked to be a man in his mid-30s. I should also mention that I am deaf and use hearing aids, and at the time I was leaving the store, I was listening to music. If you know about listening to music with hearing aids, you cannot hear much other than the music. It is not like earphones. You have to disconnect them via the mobile app to hear anything outside.